I've never had to drive the show before, so usually Eric starts everything, and I just get to sit here and stare at him longingly. But as you can see, Eric's a Bear. He made the full transition last night after the Bears lost to the Los Angeles Rams in overtime, 20-17 victory. JK, that's not actually Eric. This is just the Bear that Kyle brought to the office, but Eric can't be here. We wish him well with whatever's going on with him and his wife. But yeah, as we said, the season unfortunately comes to an end last night at Soldier Field, and in classic Bears fashion, just down to the wire game, which is what it's been like all season. Very sad, very disappointing day. But saying that, there's a lot to look forward to, right? And speaking of looking forward to things, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Total Roofing and Construction. Usually we point to that, but the big head bear is blocking it. But TRC, if you need anything roofing, siding, windows, fascia, soffit, gutters, anything exterior to your home, business, multifamily, residential, whatever the case may be, we're here to help. So feel free to give us a call. So what we're going to do is just kind of a little different. It's just going to be me and the Bear just sitting here recapping the game. I don't know where to really begin. I mean, the opening drive, we saw it was the Bears came out off of the heels of Jim Cornelison doing the anthem, the best anthem in all of sports. Came out guns swinging, or guns blazing, and then Rome Odunze unfortunately drops a sure touchdown, and the Bears ultimately go for it on 4th and short. When they were in field goal range, get intercepted. The Rams went down and scored, right? Defensively, I thought the defense, Dennis Allen had an amazing game plan. If you hold the Los Angeles Rams, or if you would have told me the Bears would have held the Rams to 20 points, I would have said, well, hell yeah, we're going to win the game. Unfortunately, the offense kind of just faltered in the game when it mattered most, outside of a couple of amazing Caleb plays. Speaking of Caleb, I did paint the nails, and I'm responsible for the loss, so I apologize. I actually started to peel one off, but yeah. So shout out Caleb Williams. This was fun. The whole city is in love with Caleb Williams. This is really his town going forward. I hope to God that he's our quarterback for the next decade and a half. Because he really did take the team by storm this year. The Iceman, all the memes, all the fans that really got into the Bears this year that in years past weren't really fans. My grandma was texting me during the game. My mom's loving the Bears. There's just so many people that are just infatuated with this team and this franchise. So that's why it's kind of a stingy day, right? But again, they weren't supposed to be this far in this season. Year one of Ben Johnson and Caleb together, and this is what we got. I think everybody would have definitely taken this if you would have gave us that crystal ball saying how the season would have played out. This is exactly the kind of our season that we all were longing for. So I'm kind of scatterbrained, so I don't really know. I'm going to touch on a lot of different things and come back because that's usually what happens. I'll just look at the Bear to try and reset things. But as we look at the game last night again, I mean, Caleb Williams, I don't know how he does it. I will never know how he does it. Last week, the 4th and 8 toss to Rome Odunze to extend the season was the most improbable passing completion I've ever seen in my life until last night's 4th and 4 pass to Cole Kmet at the end of regulation, where he was flat-footed with 2 Rams defenders draped all over him, throws the ball 52.5 yards to a wide-open Cole Kmet in the end zone, who made a hell of a play to break free on the defender. How? Why? Where? Speechless. I just couldn't help but just pick my jaw up from the floor. Kyle said he soiled himself, so he had to change his pants. I'm sure Eric the Bear peed himself, because we have some bowel movement here on 9 to 5 Bears quite often. It's kind of inappropriate, but anyways, back to the Bears. It was an amazing game. There's nothing you could say about it. The defense, like I said, did their job. The offense, Ben Johnson was aggressive, maybe too aggressive at times. One of the 3rd and short plays, the 4th and short runs that were just getting bottled up no matter what they did. It was frustrating at times, but again, an amazing season for a young Bears team. The rookies this season were just beyond what I ever thought they would be this year in Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, Kyle Monungai, Ozzie Trapillo, RIP to his patellar tendon. We talked about it last week. So just a lot of things to look forward to as a Bears fan. I don't even want to talk about the game really much anymore because it did stink. It was a tough one. But again, The Los Angeles Rams were surefire Super Bowl contenders all season long. They were supposed to be here. They're supposed to be in the NFC Championship game. The Bears were not supposed to be a play away from the NFC Championship game this season. So that's where, as we kind of just reflect back, we can be appreciative of what happened this year. All the magic, because there was a ton of magic. It was like a magic carpet ride all season long, right? One that I've never seen in my fandom as a Bears fan. I mean, you had the year they went to the Super Bowl and got beat by Peyton Manning. That was a fun year in regards of the defense. So that was another magical ride, right? You remember that Devin Hester Monday night game against the Cardinals where he had 2 returns for touchdowns? That's kind of reminiscent of this team, but it was on the opposite side of the football, which is what we've longed for in Chicago. We've never had an offense like this that can win the game. It's always been the defense, right? So, yeah, you just look back and you're proud of these Bears. The 2025 Bears gave us a lot to cheer for, and it's sad. Now we have to kind of look forward to, 7-8 months without football. I'd say 6-7, but that started – I'm told that's dead now. Kind of like the Bears season. I can make that joke, right, because it's over. But, yeah, the Bear, he knows. He knows how dead it is. It's all good. But the good thing about this season is in years past, because Bears have made the playoffs, twice outside of this season in the last 10 years. With Mitch Trubisky twice. No one really believed in Mitch. But when Caleb Williams, you know damn well that that's the franchise quarterback. Wouldn't you say, Eric the Bear? Yeah, he agrees. He's sad. He's sad. And I love that he looks so sad. Because we all feel that way. Don't we, Bear? We do. I don't know what to do with my hands right now. This is crazy. Like, do I keep talking? Do I I don't know. I wish Eric was here because Eric would also, like, he resets me. We're like yin and yang. I've been in the office with Eric since I started here 4 years ago. So, like, him not being here, I feel like I'm all alone on an island, but I know I'm not. I have Kyle and Eric the Bear. But now we look forward to see what happens. This is going to be a much different looking Bears team. The cap space situation, the Bears right now are kind of in cap hell. But with some maneuvering and creativity from Ryan Poles, who I do not envy on how he's going to do it, there's ways that they can really revamp this roster, especially defensively. The defense, outside of last night, that was the weak link of this team. And there's a lot of guys on that side of the ball that won't be here next year. Jaquan Brisker, who had an amazing game last night, he's up for a contract, and he's going to get a lot of money, especially with the way he played yesterday. I mean, he literally made himself millions of dollars just by that game alone. And I don't know if the Bears can afford him. He might not be back. There's guys up front that probably will be cut. Tremaine Edmonds, who Eric shit-talk all year and then finally came around. Yeah, he might not be here next year. There's a lot of cap casualties that's going to happen to this team to allow them to be creative, to continue to compete. Because the one thing that I did notice last night, outside of all the good that the defense did, they need a game wrecker. They need a Max Crosby, a Myles Garrett, guys like Micah Parsons, who RIP to his ACL, guys that can take the game over for the defense. Because when Matt Stafford was able to sit back there without any pressure, he was slicing and dicing. And that was kind of the shortfall of the Bears all season long, was not being able to generate any pass rush. And all that does is kind of weakens your secondary, because a good front four can wreak havoc, and that's when mistakes happen for quarterbacks. And you saw that last night when we finally did get pressure. Matt Stafford was off his game. You know, he's in my opinion, he's the MVP. He should be the MVP over Drake May. And the Bears were able to do something to really just keep him off his game last night throughout for the better part of the game. So defensively, that's what needs to happen. Offensively, hoping the offense can return in full outside of the left tackle situation with Ozzie Trapillo being out. DJ Moore, I think that last play, Caleb's interception, you can look at it from either side. Was it a bad pass by Caleb? Was DJ Moore kind of just jogging on his route? I tend to lean with the latter. I thought it was a really lazy route he ran. Caleb thought he was going to be in a place he wasn't, because Caleb or DJ was running at half speed. If he makes that catch, runs the route like Caleb thought, it's one-on-one with him and that safety that made the interception. And I could see DJ breaking that tackle, and instead of us being sad today, we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks and how, that's where we're going to play. So it's a game of inches. It's a game of ifs. Ask Green Bay Packers fans. You guys have been saying if. That's your favorite word, Packer fans. I'd have to give you some hate. Eric would appreciate that in his absence. If. they have a saying about if you say the word if so many times. I don't know it off the top of my head, but like if had a wing and a butt or something like that, I'm like really murdering it. But if I had $1 million, I'd be happy. I'm just kidding. I'm very happy. We could play this game all day. But sorry, Green Bay Packers fans, just had to give you a little gripe. So an amazing season. The Bears needed a postseason, call it a run like this. Caleb got his first win. He got to play playoff football. And it was damn cold last night. And it was, unfortunately, it looked like it impacted the Bears more than it impacted the Rams. We had more drops. Roma Dunze, Colston, Luther. I mean, the amount of drops last night was pretty egregious. There was a couple of bad officiating flags, in my opinion. They missed a blatant hands to the head hit on Caleb on the very first drive on that interception he threw. That would have extended the drive. Probably would have caused or given the Bears an opportunity to score, and they probably would have gotten 7. And then there was a ticky-tack, hands to the face call on the defense and extended a drive for L.A. So, again, it's January football. Officiating is what it is. There's going to be good plays, good flags, and bad flags. But it was just fun to be watching football in January, meaningful football for the Bears. I think that's what we've all wanted for so long. I mean, it's been 15 years since the last win, been 5 years since the last postseason appearance. So, again, it's a season that you can hang your hat on, be proud of, and what next year is going to look like, I really don't know. So I think that's going to be the fun part of all this is what do the Bears do? Who do they trade for to really help this defense, to really help make them a perennial powerhouse in the NFC North and beyond for years to come? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. What do you think, Eric? What should I do? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Man, you said it was, hey, you said no F-bombs, dude. Your grandma's watching. My God. Goodness gracious. I might have to put a muzzle on you. So anyways, yeah, that's the end of the Chicago Bears season. As sports fans, the Bears bring this team together, or this city together. Chicago truly is a Bears city. You saw it with downtown being decorated in orange and navy on all the buildings. Anytime I'd go to an appointment, anytime I go to the grocery store, anywhere I go, I see Bears gear, and it's just phenomenal because the last 10 years, I hadn't seen it to this level. I myself even didn't wear it as much as I'd like to because I just wasn't happy. You know, we've just been miserable. So it is so fun to see this team be the main cog of support for the city, the Chicagoland area. So because Lord knows no one cares about the Bulls. They suck. You know, Blackhawks are fun. You got Connor Bedard. But, again, you can't watch them unless you pay for an app. The White Sox are going to be World Series champions in like 3 years, I hope. Cubs are going to be good. They signed Alex Bregman, so that's a really big signing for them. But I'm not a Cubs fan, and neither is Eric, so we'll probably shit on the Cubs as much as we can because, like the Packers fans and the Bears, we're the redheaded stepchild in that relationship. We're always going to be the second team in the second city, as they say. So, with that, 9-5 Bears. I don't know. We're not going to be done forever. We'll be back for next season. Eric and I and Kyle have mentioned some things we can do in the off season. We'll look ahead to the Super Bowl, potentially do a preview of that game, and then also recap the game as well, and just do a look back with Eric too, so we can give his thoughts on the season. But yeah, Super Bowl or NFC and AFC Championship are all lined up. You got the Seattle Seahawks hosting the LA Rams, and then the Denver Broncos host the New England Patriots. The Broncos, however, lost Bo Nix. He broke his ankle in that game, which really stinks because if you're going to make it to the title game, I want to see the best players playing, and I wanted to see Bo Nix versus Drake May. They both came out of the 2024 draft class with Caleb. That would have been such an amazing matchup to go to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I think that just means that the Patriots pretty much locked up the AFC side, but I'd be surprised if they didn't. That means that Denver's defense just comes to play like they have all season. And then I really think that the Seattle-LA game is going to be a hell of a game like it was just about a month ago on Thursday night. That came down to overtime. Seattle put the an absolute ass whooping on San Francisco. So they look like a team that's not to be trifled with. So I could see Seattle and New England. It's a rematch of what we had about 10 years ago. I mean, the last time these two teams met, I think, was the year that Russell Wilson got picked off by Malcolm Butler. He should have ran the ball on 3rd or 4th and 1, which, not to bring back to the Bears, that was probably the opposite for Ben Johnson. There was times where on 3rd and 4th and short, instead of running the ball, I would like to him to pass it. Play action pass. Get Caleb out of the pocket. Do something, because anytime he tried it, it just didn't work. We were running into stone walls, and you got to give the Rams credit for continuing to bottle those plays up, and it happened time and time again, I felt, last night. But again, we're a Bears podcast, so anytime I could bring it back to the Bears, that's what we're going to do, right? So anyways, so I'm going to think I'm going to forecast a Seattle versus New England game, and I don't really know who I don't care who wins. I don't care who wins. I really don't. So I just hope for everyone has a good time, everyone has fun, and they just enjoy themselves, right? So, Eric, you got anything else to say? Because, you're not here, so there's really no point in me just talking for an hour because no one wants to do that or hear that. I told you, dude, no more curse words. Oh, I've never even heard that said before. That is dude, I might report you. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Where'd you come up with that word? Anyways, in the college football ranks, you got IU playing Miami in the national football game tonight. IU with their improbable run, or not improbable, they've been the best team in the country all season. I used to live in Terre Haute, Indiana, which is about an hour and a half from Bloomington. So I've kind of been around IU fans for a while. Lived in Indy for a year, so I've seen it from afar, and been to IU a couple times for tailgates. Didn't go to the football game, of course, because at the time they sucked. So it would be really cool for IU fans, for the state of Indiana, I guess, because they're also getting support up here. A lot of region rats that are IU grads. Be cool to see them win, especially given how historically bad that program's been. Kurt Cignetti's the best coach in all of football, really, what he's done there. Carson Beck's in his 12th year in college, so I really hope he doesn't win. So I'm pulling for the Hoosiers. So we'll see how it plays out tonight. And yeah, I don't know. You know, there's a movie called Forrest Gump, and he has a saying where he says, "That's all I got to say about that." So as Eric always ends the podcast with, 9 to 5 Bears. You can find us wherever podcasts are made. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on the Twitterverse or X. You can find us where you want to find us. If you need us, just call us. Eric the Bear will be there. We will be there. We're all in this together. The Bears will be back, better than ever. Next season can't be here soon enough. Caleb Williams and his magical ride can't come soon enough. Me getting new paint on my nails can't come soon enough. I'm going to actually go somewhere and they're going to do it nice and cool. I want the stripes, that'd be pretty neat. Because right now they're kind of looking like Broncos colors because the navy kind of faded. I tell you what, though, ladies, the nails, I give you guys credit. I was really scared if I was going to scuff these up at certain points. So kudos to you all. You do things that us men just don't know about, and you don't complain. So, ladies, thank you so much for that. In the meantime, enjoy the winter. It sucks here in Chicago right now. It's negative, 10 degrees, Kyle, with the wind chill or something like that. I won't even say that me and some of the guys are going to Vegas because that might make some others jealous, but it's only going to be 60 degrees there this week. But I digress. Bear down, as always. And, yeah. I saw the Rams. Their team handle is trolling the Bears right now. It's pretty funny. But Ben Johnson's credo after wins was the good, better, best chant, right? The Los Angeles Rams tweeted out a bear closing a door, and it said, good, better, rest. Fuck y'all. Bear down, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
What's up, 9 to 5 Bears? Eric here. If you've watched the first part of this episode, Brett will probably have filled you in on what is going on in my life and the reason that we had to record this episode separately. On Monday, my wife gave birth to our third child, baby, a healthy baby boy, staying in the NICU for a little bit. Everything is great. Mom is home. Baby is doing well. So because of that, I was kind of in and out of the office this week, and we decided to record our reactions to what happened in the divisional round of the playoffs separately. We still wanted to put an episode out. We had gotten almost all the way to the end of the season before my life kind of got hectic with all this baby stuff and kind of interrupted our normal flow of recording and videos and putting stuff out. So Brett decided that he wanted to react to the game by himself, and I would react by myself. Now, I know that I'm literally recording this, as you can see, late at night in my downstairs basement in my makeshift recording space here at my house, and it's literally the night before the AFC and NFC. It's literally the night before the AFC and NFC championship games are scheduled to be played this weekend. I every night I was like, man, I really got to record something and put it in the video, but I was just so tired every single night that I couldn't bring myself to do it. And then I couldn't get into work early enough or stay at work late enough to be able to do it in the margins before and after my workday started. So here I am recording it in my basement. I'm sure Brett will have lodged a lot of his concerns, a lot of his complaints about what happened at the end of the game against the Rams at Soldier Field that ended in a disappointing overtime loss for the Chicago Bears after a absolutely thrilling fourth quarter comeback by Caleb Williams and the offense once again. And man, I was in disbelief when that happened, but I'll get to that in a second. I'm sure Brett will have covered a lot of the things and issues and complaints that we had about the end of that game. I've had some time to kind of cool off and mellow off, and some things have happened during the week in terms of like coaching searches and like things with that have kind of like mellowed me out on what happened about the game, but I'll talk about it in a little bit. Before I do, though, I do have to own up to what happened on the previous episode, which was after the wild card round against the Green Bay Packers. I had gotten kind of feisty. I went off on a couple of like soapbox rants that I don't usually go on. I don't regret doing them. I kind of said a lot of swear words, and I kind of regret saying a lot of swear words. So I'm going to keep my swear words to a minimum for this episode. I was feeling kind of feisty during that recording, and for my predictions for the divisional round, I was just kind of flippantly like predicting games. Turns out that I predicted every single divisional game incorrectly. I picked the Bears to beat the Rams, did not happen. I picked the Niners to beat the Seahawks, it did not happen. I picked the Houston Texans to beat the Patriots, and that did not happen. I think I did pick the Broncos to win. No, I didn't. I picked the Bills to win because the Bills were my Super Bowl team. I forgot that the Bills played the Broncos. It was almost a week ago. So yeah, every single divisional game I was completely wrong about, and my soapbox speeches last episode were on like, if you're going to talk shit and if you're going to have takes and make predictions, you got to be able to take it on the chin when you are wrong. And I was totally and completely wrong. I was as wrong as you could possibly be about going over 4. It was pretty bad. The little girl who predicted the games is making the rounds on social media about how she like has predicted literally every single game wrong except the Patriots win over the Houston Texans, which by the way, she's now getting death threats, which is like, guys, like not cool. The little girl does not hold like some kind of like oracle like power to predict the outcomes of games, or like by picking a team like predicts the opposite outcomes. There's like people who are like, oh, I lost money. It's like, if you're losing money gambling on the advice of like a little girl picking football games on TikTok for just like some like little fun thing to do, you might have a bigger problem. Like you might be like a gambling addict and just be like completely out of your mind if like you're blaming this little girl for your gambling losses. So just like leave the little girl alone. It's all in good fun. Like it's like a funny thing. Like, oh yeah, she is like only gotten one of the games right, but like they're having fun doing it. So just like leave her alone. Seriously, that's so stupid. But I got all the games wrong. I talked a lot of smack on that episode, and I was wrong. So apologies to Patriots fans, apologies to Broncos fans, apologies to, well, maybe not Rams fans. That wound is still a little bit, and then apologies to Seahawks fans. Like I should have known, but I was wanting to play the Niners in the next round, so I was rooting for the Niners, but ultimately it didn't matter because the Bears didn't win. Now, The divisional game at Soldier Field, which was played, that was on the Saturday evening, right? I don't even remember. No, it was a Sunday because it was it was the last game, and then the next day, my wife had our baby, so I had one extra. My wife gave me one extra day to be able to watch the Bears game before giving birth to our child. But divisional game on a cold Chicago night. And it definitely looked like the cold had gotten to the Rams, at least a little bit. Matt Stafford didn't look as good and efficient and as clean as he had all year, at least the games that I had watched him in. And I think this definitely benefited both defenses because both defenses did a pretty good job of keeping the game pretty close until the end there, until we had that fantastic finish. Definitely got to shout out the Bears defense. That was probably their best performance, man, I got to say, like, maybe all season long, because they held a stellar offense that featured Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua to only 17 points in the fourth quarter throughout 4 quarters. So definitely probably the best defensive performance by the Bears defense, by Dennis Allen, and certainly by Jaquan Brisker, who played his butt off and had like double-digit tackles and was like featured on like every single play that the defense made. Dennis Allen dialing up his like favorite like safety or corner blitzes that he likes to run. He was doing quite a few of those with Brisker and Kyler Gordon. So yeah, it was a stellar job by a defense that had not looked very impressive the last several weeks, that were kind of bullied by the Lions, that, you know, the Green Bay Packers put up points on them, and it wasn't for the stellar heroics of the offense, we wouldn't have won that game either. So I got to give credit to the defense for putting up a tough fight, making plays, making big plays to keep the game close when it mattered. And then more fourth quarter, late game heroics from Caleb Williams and from the offense. You know, that last the fourth quarter throw, the fourth down, the defensive line broke through our O-line. Caleb scampers back from it's like the 17 to like the 40, so he lost like 23 yards on the play, and then just heaves it up in what initially looks like a desperation throw, and it finds Cole Kmet in the end zone against all odds. And my friends were over. We were in this very room watching the game, because this room has been good luck. You know, the prior two Packer games we watched in here were the miraculous comebacks for wins. When that pass found Cole Kmet, my friends like jumped up and were screaming and like high-fiving and hugging, and I couldn't react because I just sat there in disbelief. I could not believe what I was watching. I could not believe that we were going to come back and make this a game again in this fashion. 7 fourth quarter comebacks within 2 minutes or whatever the statistic was. And I couldn't believe it. And at that point, I really started to have like these season of destiny feelings, right? So it goes into overtime. We get to decide from the coin toss what we want to do. We want to kick. We want to possess the ball second, which at the time I agreed with the logic, because if you give the Rams a chance to possess the ball, then you have a chance to possess it after them. If you can get a stop, then you know what you have to do. You just have to get a field goal and you can win the game. So I kind of agree with the logic at the time. There's been some debate as to whether or not maybe the Bears should have taken the ball right away, since the offense was hot and their defense would have been clearly demoralized after that fourth quarter play that tied it up and sent it into overtime. So there's some debate there. I don't know if there's been enough of these types of playoff overtime rule scenarios where there's enough analytics to like say what the percentage is on that. I don't know. I just know at the time that I agree with the logic. You let them possess the ball first. You try and let a defense that has made stops mostly all night make a stop, and then you just have to get into field goal range and make a kick and you win the game. So I ultimately agreed with that. Defense got the stop, so it was looking good. Like I said, at this point, it felt like season of destiny. It felt like game of destiny. It felt like we were going to come back and just win the game. And obviously, we get the ball. We just got to get into field goal range. And then the devastating play where Caleb throws the pick, and it looks like DJ Moore didn't run the route correctly, or he just didn't have any effort on the route, and I think it was Curl was the cornerback that was defending him, jumped the route and was able to get under it, and just it was a very, very blatant interception. Whatever happened with that happened, and then the season was over. And I was in more disbelief on that, and then the Rams go down and kick the field goal, and they win. And there was like 2 moments of disbelief in this game where it was we got the late touchdown in the fourth quarter to tie it up, and then the Caleb throws the interception and they get into field goal range and they win on the field goal, obviously. And that was kind of hard to accept and believe, because at that point we had done this so many times. We'd had so many of the miraculous comebacks that I had just believed that this team would find a way to do it. And it looked like they had found a way to do it by tying up the game, had all the momentum going into overtime. The interception happens, DJ runs the route wrong or doesn't put in full effort for the route, whatever happens there, and then we lose. And that was almost more unbelievable than the touchdown to tie the game, because, like I said, it just, after that happened and after we'd had 7 fourth quarter comebacks inside 2 minutes, it just, like I said, felt like Team of Destiny. It felt like that like this season, like we were just meant to win these types of games. And then we didn't. And then it was over. And the season that had provided so much fun, that was actually a joy to watch Bears football, didn't feel like just clocking in to watch a game or clocking into a job every Sunday to watch a game. You know, the 10-game losing streak last season felt like a chore to clock in every Sunday and watch the Bears at noon just lose for 10 weeks in a row, versus this season that was just some of the most fun I've ever had watching not just Bears football, but football in general. And I think the consensus among most people was that the Bears were one of the most fun teams to watch this year, which is kind of unbelievable to say, because that's never the case. That our brand of football is usually very boring. It's defense and run oriented. But yeah, this incredible season with Caleb Williams and the emergence of Colson Loveland and the incredible run game and the O-line, it just kind of all came to a crashing and sudden halt. And there were things I could have been mad about. I obviously, took some time to try and dissect what happened with DJ Moore on that last play where Caleb threw the interception. And there were other things in the game that you could maybe make some arguments for, about maybe like taking some field goals, taking threes earlier. And that's just part of the Ben Johnson experience, going for it on fourth down. Clearly, in my mind, he was going for it so much because he didn't trust the defense, even though the defense performed pretty admirably in this game. But yeah, it just came to a very sudden, very abrupt, very emotional ending, because you had that big swell of emotion and hope that they would come back and win that game. And after what happened in the fashion that it did, in the cold, in the home, in front of the fans, the last game at Soldier Field, because if we won, we would have been going to Seattle to play them. And yeah, it just didn't happen. When you live by the magic and live by, the cardiac Bears and having to come back within 2 minutes and all these incredible moments, when you live on the razor's edge like that, eventually it's not going to break your way. Eventually somebody's going to be able to withstand that comeback. And the Rams, credit to them, they showed Sean McVay's face on the sideline after that touchdown pass happened, and he just looked first of all, he looked miserable. Shout out to Sean McVay. I mentioned during the game that I thought Sean McVay looked like he belonged to the bandits from Home Alone, with like the hat and like just the vest and everything he had on. I'm like, he looks like he's about to go out and rob like a house in the Chicago suburbs. Is very funny. But credit to them, they had that happen and they didn't blink. They were able to come back and respond, and that's the veteran leadership of Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams and the guys that have been on that team, And at the end of the day, in a game full of mistakes on either side because it was cold and lack of execution, the Rams, their execution and their big plays and their big stops on defense in just a couple of key areas were the difference. And the turnover that they were able to pick off Caleb in overtime, that was the that was the difference in the game. It was winnable. It was right there. It's just a couple of like every football game you can point to a few key plays where you can say if that swung differently, the outcome would have been different. And same in this game, and it just wasn't. It wasn't. And the Bears season is now over, and we're going into championship weekend not having Bears football, and it's definitely sad. But I was mad, I was frustrated, but there was a sense of kind of acceptance. And Brett and I will do like next week. We've already planned to do like a championship weekend wrap up and kind of like a Bears season wrap up, and just talk about where we felt we were when the show started, and kind of like how our views and thoughts kind of changed over the season, and maybe discuss what we think the Bears need to do next season to take that next step. But when it was over, yes, I was frustrated and I was sad, but there was also kind of a feeling of acceptance, because it's very well documented. I literally put my opinions on the internet on this show that I really felt like 7-9, or like 8-9, or 7-10, or 8-9, or 9-8, whatever, that kind of range. What was kind of the hope for this season, and what Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and the whole team was able to accomplish was far and beyond my expectations, was far and beyond the bar that I set for the season. And I ultimately think that makes this season a success, because everyone wants to win the Super Bowl. Everyone wants to win a championship. But only one team can win the Super Bowl. Only one team can win the championship. And despite that, you still have to be able to find the joy in watching your team every single Sunday and take enjoyment out of that. Because if you're just like, oh, nothing really matters unless we win the Super Bowl, which I get is the ultimate goal, then what is the point of watching every season? It's like only worth it to watch the season that your team wins. It's like your team is not going to win every season. So you have to be able to take enjoyment from the regular season and the things that happen and the ups and downs. And like I said, I was able to do that this season. Last season felt like a job. It felt like clocking in to just watch a terrible product on the field. And this season, I was actually able to like look forward to Bears football on Sunday or Monday or Thursday or whenever it was. And even my wife, who has now sat through 6 seasons of Bears football with me, even she was like, yeah, this is like the happiest you've ever been on Sundays during the winter. And even she was like, oh yeah, this even her as like a casual, like passive observer is like, oh yeah, like this feels different than what I'm used to seeing. And it meant a lot to the city, and it meant a lot to the fans, and it meant a lot to the people. A team like this and a season like this, you can have winning seasons and you can have good seasons and stuff, but the kind of like how everything came together this season, like the new coach and year 2 of Caleb, and just the magic of the fourth quarter comebacks, and the vibes on the team, and how just the culture changed, and how the mental toughness of the team, the guys never felt like they're out of it. It felt magical. And you only get those magic seasons when they're happening, and you kind of just have to appreciate them as they're happening, because everything ends, right? And it could either end in a Super Bowl, or even if it ended in the playoffs, it was still a really fun ride. So, and you have to enjoy the ride while it happens, because eventually you're gonna have to get off, and you hope that you can get off with a Super Bowl. But even if you don't, this is still a really fun season to watch Bears football. And I had friends over at my new house, and we witnessed some absolutely incredible comebacks. Like both Green Bay games, I had some of my closest friends at my house, and we got to watch that together. And those are some of my like favorite memories with those guys now. And I wouldn't trade the way it happened, like, for anything. And it was exciting because my son Cameron, he's about to be 2, and even he would like look at the TV when I would like jump up and down, and he would be like, "Yay!" And like, my middle son Noah only knows winning Bears football. He's experienced one Bears season, and he only knows winning Bears football, and that's an exciting prospect for the future. So, despite everything, despite the way that it ended, despite the haters, this season was incredible, and I'll remember it forever. This season, I love the 2018 season. I love the Super Bowl season. This is probably my favorite season of Bears football that I've watched. Maybe ever. Maybe ever. Maybe one of those Jay Cutler years where like our offense was just really good, like the Mike Martz kind of like crazy stuff. But this year, despite everything, was just there's so much like new coach and year 2 of Caleb and like just so much that could have gone wrong, but it didn't. It went right, and it was fun, and I'll remember it forever. It'll be memories forever. So, Brett and I will talk more about like the season as a whole in an episode next week. I don't want to drone on too much. So now we are going to watch the Broncos and the Patriots play in the AFC Championship game. Broncos with some terrible news that Bo Nix is not playing in that game. Broke his ankle on like the second to last play at the end of the game where they were playing the Bills, which is kind of crazy. And then we will have Seahawks Rams for an NFC West matchup. And that should be pretty good. Funny enough, there are 2 Mikes and 2 Seans remaining for the head coaches in the playoffs, and that's very humorous to me. So if I had to take my picks for the winners of the championship weekend to go to the Super Bowl, my brain is telling me it's most likely the Seahawks on the NFC side and the Patriots on the AFC side. That makes sense to me, and that would probably be appropriate. Those 2 teams have been probably 2 of the best 4 or 5 teams in the league throughout most of the year. So that would be appropriate, and that would probably be a really entertaining Super Bowl. There'd be some shades of like the last Super Bowl where Seattle and New England played, and the not running it with Marshawn on the one. Lynch would be all those storylines that people would get to talk about for like 2 weeks. That'd be fun. But to me, that's most likely the outcome of championship weekend. That's what I think, unless the Rams pulled off. But I don't know. The Seahawks just looked unbelievable in the beatdown that they put on the Niners. And yeah, for the Bears, it's time to start reflecting and time to start planning for next season. There's moves that we need to make. Ben and Brian Poles need to get together and figure out how we can take this roster to the next level. Looking where we finished this year, looking around in our contemporaries, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Broncos, the Texans, the Patriots, this whole round of the playoffs, looking up at the teams that are above us, just based on the results of this year, we're chasing the Seahawks, we're chasing the Rams, we're chasing the Patriots, we're chasing the Broncos. Those are all 4 really, really good teams. They're very, very well-rounded. They all have great quarterbacks. They all have star players. So, yeah, those are the teams that we're currently chasing. That's the goal that we have to rise to. And we're gonna have a harder schedule next year. I think that statistically it came out that we have the hardest schedule next year based on the results of this year. So it's certainly not going to get any easier. It's going to be harder than it was this year, and we'll have to make the moves to rise to the level of where the Pats, Broncos, Seahawks, and Rams are, and the Niners too, because the Niners beat us. I'd expect the Packers to be better next year too. So, and our division's probably not going to get any easier. Jury's still out on JJ McCarthy, so we'll have to see what he does next year if he can stay healthy. We'll have to see if we get Brian Flores the F out of our division for the Vikings defense, but the Vikings will still probably be very good. I know they have some roster stuff that they got to do with their cap situation, but I mean, they've been a well-run organization, so I'm sure they'll be back. As long as Dan Campbell's in Detroit, they'll probably be good. They got some new offensive coordinator. I don't know. We'll see about that. And then obviously the Packers are the Packers. There's just the pedigree of excellence there. So not going to get any easier next year. So we'll have to make the right moves. The defense definitely needs some help. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I'll wrap up my ramblings here because I don't know how long. I actually don't know what Brett said about any of this. I didn't watch his footage that he recorded. I'm literally just going to splice the 2 together and put it out there. So we'll have to see what Brett said. But I will say this personally, we're not ending. We'll have at least one more episode where we'll talk about the future of the Bears. Maybe we'll do a Super Bowl recap. And then Brett and I have discussed some off-season stuff where we have a couple of ideas we think that would be entertaining for the the off season, especially for fans that are around our age in their mid 30s. We think we have an idea that could be kind of cool to experiment with. So we might check that out. We'll talk about it more. Unless Brett's already talked about it. Maybe he did. I don't know. I could just be laying on the drama for nothing, the cliffhanger. But for 9 to 5 Bears specifically, Brett and I started doing this because we love to talk about the Bears every Monday or every Tuesday or whenever after the game, whenever it was at work. And we'd spend like 2 hours. We turn on ESPN radio and we just talk about the Bears. And with our producer with our digital marketing specialist Kyle coming on and doing a bunch of videos for Total Roofing, we were just like, hey, it'd be really cool. Would you want to come in for an hour and we could just set all this up in OBS and just make like a little show out of this? And we did, and it was really cool. I didn't really I expected maybe like a handful of people to listen to it, but our friends and family have been like really supportive of it. My grandparents listened to it, which is kind of crazy. Very cool to have like their support. Brett's friends have been like super supportive. My friends have been super supportive. We've gathered like 100 people on YouTube, just random friends and strangers that have like just found us and subscribed to the show. And we had no intention of that happening. We just wanted to put this out there because we were like, yeah, it's fun to create and talk about our team. And the fact that like we have over 100 subscribers on YouTube, the fact that like we have over 250 followers on TikTok, crazy, unbelievable, very cool. So thank you to everybody out there that just like supported this little show. We've gotten really good feedback. I've gotten some constructive feedback about how the show can be better. We hope to make the show better. But like, thank you to all of our friends and family out there. Thank you to the random internet citizens out there that happen to find us. Thank you to Where We Work Total Roofing for allowing us the time before and after work to record using company property and continue to represent our brand, which we're very thankful that we work for. So, yeah. And as I say at the end of our episode, just go and search 9 to 5 Bears on all the socials. Then you can find us on TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube. That's our main way. You can find the show in an audio format on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and I'm going to try and get a couple more added during the off season, Apple Music and iHeartRadio and stuff like that. Bears 9 to 5 on Instagram. I had to switch that one backwards because I'm stupid. And then 9 to 5 Bears at gmail.com if you want to send in an email. And as always, go check out the sponsor Where We Work, totalroofingandconstruction.com. The spring season is a couple months away, and we want to get people signed up before price increases go into effect so that you have the lowest possible price for your home project. So totalroofingandconstruction.com. Go and check that out. If you're in the Northwest Indiana area, we are putting on a trade show and collector show that we call the Hoosier Home and Hobby Show. It is a combination home show and collectible show where we'll have local businesses that have booths and tables there mixed in with collectors and hobbyists who will have their collections there looking to sell, looking to trade, all that fun stuff. And we will have 3 athlete autograph signers that will be showing up throughout the show to sign autographs. And those 3 athletes are Chicago Bulls and 4-time NBA champion legend Will Perdue, Super Bowl 20 champion Keith Van Horn, and Stanley Cup champion Ben Eager. So we have 1 athlete from 3 of the major Chicago teams, all champions, all winners. It'll be really cool. You can go online to HoosierHomeandHobbyShow.com to check out that. You can sign up and get tickets. If you're a business, you can get a booth. If you're a collector, you can buy a table. And if you're coming to the show to get autographs, you can buy all of your autographs right there on the website. You can pay for all that ahead of time, and then you can just show up and have your ticket ready on your phone and just be like, boom, I paid for this. I'm getting an autograph, whatever. So it's really cool. We did it last year. We had Kerry Wood and Bill Cartwright last year. And the experience for like our first time ever running like any kind of trade or collectible show was awesome. It was incredible. So many people came out. We talked to a lot of people. Got to talk to Kerry Wood and Bill Cartwright. Incredible athletes who are just more incredible people. So, and met a lot of like awesome like people in our community too that really loved what we were doing. So yeah, HoosierHomeandHobbyShow.com. It's the Hoosier Home and Hobby Show. It's March 28th, I believe, is the date. So save that on your calendar. Check it out. You can follow the page on Facebook. There's Who's Your Home and Hobby Show for updates on the show and what's going on. So that's the last I'll say about that. Brett and I will have an episode next week breaking down the championship game, all that stuff. And we'll see what's going to happen during the offseason with the Chicago Bears. So take it easy, everyone. Have a great weekend, and see you next week. Talk more Bears.